Hello friends, it's Susan here again. Going to show you another card today that is very simple and easy to do. And we are going to feature two stamp sets that are retiring, Young at Heart and Thanks for the Laughs. I did a card with this yesterday where I featured these ladies and some of these cute sentiments. And I'm going to do that again. Both of these stamp sets are retiring, so if you don't have them, you might want to order them now. They guarantee that they will produce them until May the 15th. After that, it's while quantities last on these items. And I am also going to use some designer series paper today. Now this was free paper that we got with Celebration. I'm sure a lot of you got the Lily paper, so I decided to go ahead with it because it's just so perfect for what I want to do with this card. So if you have the Lily paper, here's a great use for some of your Lily paper. If you don't, you can look for any kind of pattern papers that you have that have sort of a softer background that's not super busy with lots and lots and lots of images. And yes, I'm sitting here talking with my hands, but you can't see my hands unless they're here. That's who I am. Okay, when I did this card for you yesterday, I told you I was going to show you how we used all of the designer paper, and I forgot to do the envelope. So I am going to do that now for you. So what I did was I cut this at 4, put this on the front, and then at 5 1/4 on the bottom, which gave me this sweet little strip for the inside, and then this was left over. This is now just big enough to decorate my envelope flap. And I'm going to go kind of close to the edges, but I don't really want to ooze out. And I'm going to be a little bit generous because, well, I don't want this to come off. Okay. Kind of do that. All right, now I'm just going to press this on. Flip it over to make sure it doesn't show. Just give it a little rub, and then I would trim off the edges by flipping it over. Now, you're going to look at this and you're going to go, wait a minute, that doesn't quite fit that envelope flap, does it? So I'm going to cut this away. And then you can also decorate your envelopes by putting designer paper on the inside of the envelope and the flap. It's really, really pretty. Okay, so you're going, okay, wait, it doesn't quite fit. Now, because of the pattern of this paper, I could probably get away with this and just leave it, but there's no rule that says it has to have that curve. So let's just snip it off. And no one will be any the wiser, and it still looks good. All right, that's a great way to decorate your envelopes. So, moving on to the card that's actually for today, and that is going to be this one. Get a little bit of a fun fold, something a little bit different on this card. And then here, look at this sweet inside. I just love it. It makes me giggle every time I see it. So, what I'm going to do to start with, I am going to start by showing you how I did the card base. Okay, so I cut my cardstock at 5 1/2. So it's now 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. And then I'm going to put it in here and I score it at 4. So I put this at 4 inches and then I run the light is the scoring blade. Uh-oh, that's wrong. Sorry. Scored at 4 1/4. Aren't you glad I had another piece sitting right here? Because I just cut this, that's why. 4 1/4. Okay, 4 1/4, that's the middle. Now, this is going to be my front because I'm going to fold into the mountain, but I don't want the full front. So I'm now going to put the front side in, and I'm just going to cut 2 inches off, just like that. Now I can fold this, and I cut my designer paper in the same way as I did for the other one. Cut it at 4 and then 5 1/4 long, and then a second strip here at this piece that's left over here measures 2 1/4. So then I put the one here as 2. So there's a 1/4 inch border all the way around. on this card. All right. Oh, I like that swish at the bottom. Okay. Do you ever sit and talk to yourself when you're stamping? I do it all the time. I talk to the paper, I talk to my brain, I talk to the markers. I say, hey, where did that go? It was here 1 second ago. It can't have disappeared. I think it's funny because a lot of crafters do that. We think out loud. That's what we're doing. We're thinking out loud. Okay, here's a cute little tip for you. I was hoping this would happen. Sometimes when you cut, you get a little bit of a ragged edge and you don't notice it. If you just take your closed scissors and do that, it works just like a little razor blade and slices off those little fuzzy ends that shouldn't be there. Nifty, huh? Okay, so this one is going to go on the front panel. Like that. Now, if you're trying to put something on like this and you have difficulty seeing where it should go, turn it this way, and it tends to be easier if the long part of the paper is at the top. Okay. I have an edge there. Okay, so that is my card base. Okay, so I used the Stitched Shapes framelits for this one, and they have circles, ovals, and if you flip it over, squares. So these get a lot of use in my world here. And this is the oval. I cut one out, and I actually went ahead and cut the second one out, and I want to show you how tightly they stick because this sucker's really in there. So sometimes you do that and you have trouble getting them out. Just take your fingers like this and just slowly press until it starts to release. Because if you try to rip it out, you might tear your cardstock. Just like that. Just like that. I'll be right back because I want to grab my Big Shot and cut one more out for you. Wow, I've walked away from you 3 times this time. Just so, yeah, it really points out that these videos are not rehearsed. They're not scripted. I just kind of get my stuff together and go. It's like being in a real live class with me. And that's exactly what it's like in my live class. If I forget something, I just pop around the corner to grab it. That's what's nice about being able to do classes at my home. So if I don't have something, well, it's just around the corner in my supplies. All right. Now, I'll show you why I wanted to do this in a minute, because I hadn't done it ahead of time. I'm just trying not to do a lot of cutting, because it makes the camera shake, and it makes the video get long. But in this case, I think it's going to be important. Okay, so I now have, and I'll have these little edgies. You're going to have to just take your fingernail and just kind of clean them off. All right, so now I'm going to use my Memento black again. And my Fun Ladies. And yes, this block is way too big for this stamp, but all of my smaller ones were in use and I didn't want to unseat them. So we're going to make this work. All right, lovely ladies. Now, my sentiments, you see, are on little strips. What I did was I took a scrap that was laying on my table. There's always scraps somewhere. And I stamped in it. And then just took my scissors and trimmed them apart to make them look casual. All right. Oh, so I did that again. Oh, we've got one more to stamp. Let's do that while we've got the ink out. This is my favorite sentiment. No one will ever be as entertained by us as us. This is my daughter and me. So funny. And my best friend Kathy. We used to spend hours just laughing. It was hilarious. There never seemed to be a rhyme or reason for it, but the world could just be funny. I guess when you're 16, the world is all fun. All right, and there is our inside piece. Okay, so all our stamping is now done. And yes, I have messed up my pretty grid paper. But we're going to color our little ladies again. And I am going to start, when I switched their hair, on the last video that I did, this lady was blonde and this lady was a brunette. And this time I switched them up. Just for fun, just to see what I thought. I'm going back to Granny Apple Green, which is my favorite green. It is so bright and springy and just absolutely gorgeous. And I'm starting with the edges of the image. And it doesn't matter which direction you color with these because it just blends perfectly. And I do want to make sure she's kind of raggedy down there at the edge. I don't want it to be a perfect straight line. Okay, that's light. And then I'm going to take the dark, and I'm not a good artist, so I'm just going to highlight a couple spots here, like that. Oh, and I'm going to make her headband dark Granny Apple. Now I am using the brush tip because it actually is a finer tip than the narrow tip, which is interesting. But you just barely let it touch the paper. That's all it takes. If you push down at all, it's going to cause it to blur. All right, my other friend is going to wear purple today. This is Highland Heather. This is one of my favorite colors. Absolutely one of my favorite colors. It's kind of hard to tell when you look at it. Okay, wait, where's her arm? Where's the shirt? Sometimes you have to back up and look more carefully to figure out what's what. Now, I do always try to turn the paper so the line is in front of the marker, not the other way around, because I can see better. It was a little bit wide, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to do that with her. All right, and then we're going to give her a dark, just little bits. And this is dark Highland Heather. These markers are so neat. Oh, I see, I missed a sleeve. Because they just make you an artist. And I am not an artist by any stretch of the imagination. I wasn't even a crafter. You know, I never made anything. I was horrible. I had no creative ideas, no creativity in my body whatsoever. And so when people say, "Oh, I can't craft. I can't do that. I'm not creative." I don't buy it because I wasn't creative at all. And this is a learned skill. It is a learned skill, and it becomes a blood pressure reducer. It's better than any drug. It's amazing. I can be all stressed out about something in my world and sit down and start playing with the paper and ink. And I don't know what it is. It just calms you from the inside out. It's just so neat the way it works that way. All right. We're going to use the other end. Let's see. This time she's going to be my blonde. And of course you could make her hair black or red. You know, you can do anything you want with these markers, playing around with them. And you could even do layers. You could do like a red underlayer, and then you could turn around and add little bits of black to it so it looked more like highlights. Here. Isn't she nice? All right, just little bits I added on there. And then my other lady is going to be my brunette. And of course, if you were doing this for a specific friend, you would want to color the ladies to look like the two of you as closely as possible. Now, This combination we're looking at right here, this is me and this is my friend Kathy. So, all right, she got a little dark in her hair, didn't she? Yeah, she did. See, it's never perfect. There's a lot of not quite perfects. I'm going to try to lighten that up a little bit, get rid of that. I don't know if it's going to work or not. But I'm going to try. All right, now let's give them a little flesh tone. And I'm going to avoid the eyes and her glasses. You can hear the neighbor's dogs barking. I'm just trying to be really stubborn and not turn the air conditioner on yet. Okay, and yeah, this would be me. I would be laughing so hard I'm crying. I'm not sure if you can tell from there, but she's laughing so hard she's got a tear running down her cheek. It's hilarious. I'm telling you, these are some of the best humor cards, humor stamp sets and images that they have done. I find humor difficult. You know, it's kind of hard to know what to put in there. But these are just beyond darling. Okay, I want her skin tone to be a little darker because she's gotten a little sun. And the other lady is, well, she's smarter. She stays out of the sun. All right. And if you notice again, I forgot the front of her hair. That's easy to do. You just don't notice it there. There. Now she has hair. Now, the hard part. Lips. I saved it for the end this time. Okay, for these lips, I'm going to use Flirty Flamingo. This is dark Flirty. And I'm just tapping it. I'm not even trying to color. There. We have a little smudgy. And then I'm going to take the light Flirty. I'm just going to kind of color the inside of the mouth a little bit so it doesn't look like they're white inside their mouth. And I will fix the other card with that as well. Okay, I think my friends are done. Now, shoot, I just got green spot on there. Don't know how that happened. But I will use my color lifter and try to fix it. So now, before I go sticking anything together, I'm going to glue this Blackberry Bliss circle onto the back of this, because you can see how it goes through. But that's just the nature of alcohol markers. It's just what they do. But I'm going to put this on it, and I'm going to turn it. Got to look at it from this side to make sure it's a perfect match. In my sample I wasn't quite perfect and I had to trim the edge because you don't want that to show. Alright, there we go. Okay, now one last thing is I'm going to cut these pieces apart and then I'm going to put my card together. Okay, so I want to make it a little bit skinnier, and it doesn't matter if the cuts are straight. It's actually more fun if they're not. All right. Ooh, I hope you got out and enjoyed this nice day if you're here in Missouri. All right, get them out of the way. Now let's put our card together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my center in. Okay, and I am sticking to the outside edge. Now I'm going to kind of shoot for dead center, slightly above, this way. Okay, And by doing that first, now I'm going to put these guys on with some dimensionals. And I'm going to put them like this. Gonna move you like that. Cat fur. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to pull these off. And we may just send cat fur with this card. Okay, now I'm going to close it. And I will position them on here by doing this and making sure they completely cover up the one that's underneath. I think that'll do. See, now when you open it up, you don't see that marker where it colored through. It all blends in. That was a last minute thought when I made this card. Okay, now to put these guys in, I use little glue dots, and I'm going to get those for you. I think the heat is starting to melt my brain. My body's not used to that. We didn't have enough spring. I'm just going to put that one there. And there is no rhyme or reason as to where these guys go. Just wherever you want to stick them. Well, I'm glad that we can get together via video if we can't do it in person. I know I have some customers who come to my live classes on a regular basis, and they're a little disappointed that we're not able to do that anymore. It will go away. It will get better eventually. Okay. I put 2 on the thanks. It was just a little long. Thanks. Okay. They don't want me to pick them up. I'm going to use my scissors to scoop them. There. Okay, thanks. 4. I'm almost to the end of my glue dots. I'm sure I have more. I try to keep multiples of those things on hand because I have a tendency to misplace them. And the thing is, they're always under that piece of paper or stuck to this. You know, things just don't disappear. And the word laughs. Thanks for the laughs. There. And that, my friend, is the end of that card. What do you think? Please leave me a comment. I'd love to know what you think of my cards. I'm so grateful that you came to watch and to spend some crafty time with me today. Please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And if you hit the little bell, then you'll get a notification the next time I post a new video. So spend some time and make a card today and send someone a smile. Bye.